Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I love? Patreon.com/inkdependence, where patrons get access to a patron-only Discord, ad-free videos, and the joy of knowing they help support this channel. Hello folks, welcome to Ink Dependence. I'm Mike, and today I have a pen that is hot off the pen presses from Opus 88 and our friends over at Goldspot Pens. This was sent out to me for review and to show y'all, so thank you very much, Goldspot. This is the Opus 88 Twilight Sonata, and the model is the demo, although this one is not a demo. I think the rest of them probably are. So let's take a look at this cool pen. All right, inside the box, which is a nice little magnet box. That's always fun. You open it up and you'll see you have a little instructional booklet here about how to fill the pen and all that jazz. This is an eyedropper filled pen, which means it does not use a cartridge or a converter. You just fill the pen up with ink with the included eyedropper, which is right here. I have filled this pen. I've had it for about a week, been using it a good bit. I used a different eyedropper. I just didn't use this one. I have a few of these Opus 88 pens because I really like them. So here's the pen. Let's get into it. All right, here we have the Opus 88 Twilight Sonata in the demo model. Demo usually means demonstrator, which means you can see through the pen. It used to be the way that pen salesmen would show it to pen stores. Hey, this is what's going on inside this pen. Look at all the mechanisms. This one is obviously not a demonstrator. You cannot see through it. This is a custom DiamondCast blank here in, hi, Mr. Nose. He's helping me out with this video today. In red and purple, a bunch of blue, and of course, a whole bunch of little diamonds in there. This material is made by Tim McKenzie out here in North Carolina, so this is an exclusive for Goldspot Pens. Here is the finial, which doesn't have anything on it aside from a little bit of my fingerprints, because it is a shiny pen. You're going to get a little fingerprint action on it sometimes. The clip here is a pretty simple clip. Has a little ball at the end. It has enough spring to it, I think, to definitely hold this onto a placket or something like that. It is a fairly stiff clip. If you want to put this in your pocket, you're going to need a deep pocket. This pen comes in capped at almost 6 inches long, so pretty long pen there, but the DiamondCast material here is a pretty light acrylic, and so it's not going to be overly heavy when you're trying to write with it. The pocket depth, which would be from the end of the pen to the inside of the top of the clip there, is about 5.5 inches, a little bit under, and so you're going to need a very deep pocket if you want to stick this in a pocket, but on a placket or in a large pen sleeve, you should be just fine. As far as branding on here, you don't really have anything aside from the overall shape of the pen and the clip. It does have an engraving right here, if I can catch it in the light, which says Opus 88, and that is all. That's all the branding you have on here, and I really appreciate that. I like a pen with very simple branding or missing branding. That's always good for me. There are no cap bands on here. It's just a nice solid bar of acrylic. Hey, buddy. And then down here where there would be another finial, you'll see that this can unscrew. And the reason you'll want to unscrew that is because it is a Japanese eyedropper, and so if you have this screwed down all the way, it blocks the ink from getting into the section and the nib. And so if you're just throwing this in your bag or your purse or pocket or whatever, and it is jostled around, you will not lose ink. You won't have a mess in your cap because there's just not that much ink that's getting to the nib. The downside of this is that you do need to have this unscrewed in order to write with the pen for very long. You can write probably, I don't know, maybe half a page or something, depending on how big your page is and your handwriting, I guess, before you run out of ink in the feed there at the nib. But if you unscrew this, it will replenish itself pretty darn quickly, and so that's good. But you do need to remember to unscrew this if you're going to write for any particular length of time, or you're just going to run out of ink and you'll be very sad about that. All right, on the bottom is the only other engraving on here, and this says 83 out of 170. There are 170 of these pens. It is a limited edition, so if you like the way this looks, I would say don't dilly-dally, or you might miss it. Mr. Nose is appreciating this pen right now. Hi, bud. So let's go ahead and open this up. Mr. Nose, I don't want to get you inky, buddy. It does take 3 spins, 3 revolutions to get the cap off of this pen, which is a kind of a lot. That's really my only gripe about this pen, is that it does take three turns to get the cap off. But that's common to all of these Opus 88 pens, so if you've used any of those, you're kind of used to that. If you're going to use this just to like take some notes or whatever, it doesn't seem to run dry, and that's probably because it has a whole lot of ink back here and it replenishes itself very easily. So I just kind of stick it back in the cap and just like set it down on the desk and then pull it out when I'm ready to use it. Or I use something like a pen well, which I can just stick the pen in, and then when I am done writing, I can just drop the pen in there, and when I want to write again, I just pull it out. So that's another good product for this kind of pen. pen that has a lot of turns if you need to use it to take short notes. Buddy, I'm going to have to reclaim my desk here. I love you, but you got to go. Okay, so that's those are the basic features there of the outside of the pen. The inside of the pen here has this very nice section. This section is on the wider side, which for me is perfect. It is right in my favorite size zone for a section, which is 11 to about 12.5 millimeters. The skinniest part, of course, being there at the waist, and the fattest being up by the threads. Those threads they don't get in my way, and it is a long enough section that I don't find myself putting my fingers on them anyway. You see I got a little ink on my fingers that is unrelated. That's just because I'm a pen nerd, and sometimes you get a little ink on your fingers. But even if you do have to hold it on the threads because you hold it very far back, if that's your style, they're pretty comfortable threads. They're not very sharp, and they'll be all right there. The nib itself is a number 6 size Jowo nib, and it is black PVD coated. Oh, look who's back. You can see a little bit of ink there on the nib and the Opus 88 engraving, and that's all that's on the nib. I like how simple that is. You'll find the size engraving right there on the side of the nib. That's where Jowo is putting them these days. So just look right there and it'll tell you what size tipping you have on the nib. You can see here the edge of the nib unit. These are a nib unit that is very easy to replace. You just kind of grab it and twist the pen and you can unscrew the nib unit. I wouldn't do that while it's filled with ink because it is an eyedropper and all that ink will fall out unless you have it closed. So that's kind of dangerous. But when your pen is empty and clean, easy to change that nib out for any old Jowo number 6 that you would like. So that's pretty simple. Now you can unscrew the section here, of course. This is how you'll fill the pen. It's a little bit of a dangerous maneuver with a cat on my desk here peering in, but I'm going to take the risk. There we go. You can see the ink in there. And that is where that little plunger snugs up against there and closes out the section. There is an O-ring right here at the top of the section there, which does keep this nice and snug and tight and keeps it from leaking. And there is an extra O-ring in the box for the pen as well. If you somehow bust 2 O-rings, you can buy spares. They're very easy to get. Probably just at your local hardware store. Just take it with you, and you can probably grab one pretty darn cheap, or a pack of them pretty darn cheap. All right, so that's what this pen looks like. Let's compare it to a whole bunch of other pens and then do a writing sample, and that'll be it. All right. Hold on. Okay, so here we have this pen next to a bunch of other pens. This is just sort of a smattering, a sampling of other things, including a couple of other Opus 88s and some other pens that you might know. If there's a pen that you would like to hear how this compares to it, leave me a comment down below, and if I have it, I'll try to compare it for you. All right, so here we have the Benu Talisman. This one's called the Sunday by the Pool edition, which is a fairly large pen. It's actually larger than I thought it was going to be. Then we have the Opus 88 Omar. I believe this one is called the Pumpkin edition. I really like the look of this thing. Let me screw this down here so we have just the most accurate comparison that we can get right there. Yeah, there we go. And then, of course, our Opus 88 demo, which is the same size as the Omar. I really thought the Omar was the biggest pen they made, but I guess it's not quite. Then we have the Opus 88 Halo edition. This is the penaddict special edition. You can buy it over on his site. This is the TWSBI 580 ALR in black. And then lastly, we have our Sailor 1911 standard size, just for comparison's sake. So this is a fairly large pen. It's on the bigger end of the scale for sure. Let's go ahead and take off the caps and see how they all stack up that way. Okay, so here you have all those pens uncapped. I did not post them. I believe all of these actually do post except for the demo here. This one is just, it would be too long if you posted it, and the back is square, so it doesn't post, but it would be absurdly long if you did post it. So unposted, or rather uncapped and unposted, this pen is a bit under 5.5 inches long, and it's a pretty good size length. It is about the same as the Benu here and the Omar. It's a little bit longer than the Omar. It's also a bit longer than pens like the 580 here, and a good bit longer than our Sailor pen there. But in the hand, a very comfortable sort of pen. So let's clear these away, put the caps back on. I'll try to get my cat to cooperate here. We'll do a little writing sample. All right, let's see how this one writes. Now, I have been waving it around for a while, and I have had the back end closed here, so I'm just going to go ahead and open this up right quick. I like to open it up a fair amount just because I'm never really sure how much it's open, especially with the opaque ones. The one like drawback to this pen, aside from like it takes 3 turns to get the cap off, is that you can't see through this demo. This demo is not demoing, and so you can't see through it. You won't know how much ink you have, but it does hold a lot of ink, so you don't really have to worry too much about running out. It's not going to be, you know, you're not going to run out for a while. So let's see if this writes here. Nope, a little bit of a hard start, but like I said, I've been waving it around with the ink supply shut off. All right, there we go. And as you can see, it did get started fairly quickly once I opened up the back and like actually started writing with it. And you can also see that the sheen here is definitely heavier up here, and that's because the ink that I have in here is fairly sheeny, and it does want to like concentrate itself when it's like getting dry. And so as we went down here, it definitely chilled out a bit, which is totally fine. This ink in here is the Wearingeul Call of the Cthulhu. Well, X Goldspot. This is another exclusive, and it was coming out at the same time. So like, yeah, let's ink it up together. So yeah, it works really nicely, I think. And as long as you keep the back end open there and you aren't just waving it around for half an hour doing reviews, it's gonna write really well. I like the way that this pen puts ink down on paper. I think it always looks pretty darn nice. You can see there, it is this ink is a little bit on the dry side, I think, even, and you didn't have any problems there, even writing pretty darn quickly and scribbling and all that jazz. So yeah, I like this pen, and this is just a regular old medium nib. Writes really nicely, and yeah, looks good while doing it. Also, for my hands, this is a good size. So with my fairly large hands here, you can see it does definitely give me enough room there. And yeah, I think this is pretty great. I'm liking it a lot. So thank you very much, Goldspot, for sending this out for me to review and show folks. Y'all should go over to Goldspot. If you are a patron of the Ink Dependence channel, you get a Goldspot code that is just for you as a discount code. So, you know, go over there and check that out. If you're a patron, tell Goldspot I said hi when you order from them. That always helps out channels like mine so people know where folks are coming from and where they've seen things. And until the next video, peace out. Nose, do you have anything to say here? Anything to say for yourself? No? Okay, well, that's it. All right, bye, everybody.